Hey guys, the name is Ikrit, and welcome back to another edition of Bad Ramblings, the series where I ramble on badly. Today's topic is a Korean webtoon called My Joy from the creator of Her Pet. A little bit of a backstory, I found out about My Joy after making the video about Her Pet, and then Razor was telling me to not read My Joy, which is obviously a terrible way to tell me not to read it, because the more you tell me I shouldn't be reading it, the more I want to read it. Anyways, let's get on to what My Joy is about, which I will just read off of the website. The school's fastest track star, Namsu, an old friend from the past, Hye-Yeon, everyone's adorable sweetheart, Joy. High school romance at its best. The comic that made Pito one of the best in the girl love genre. Honestly, that is such a vague and clickbaity summary to make you want to read it, because first of all you're doing is describing the character's one trait that makes them that character instead of like all the other things that makes them unique. And then there's towards the end, it just says the comic that made Pito one of the best in the girl love genre, which I'm still trying to think about that, because again, they said the same thing to Her Pet, where they're saying like Pito was the grandfather of the girl love genre, which I'm still over here trying to contemplate about it. Like I don't know about that, but you know, if the Koreans think that, then okay, he does have a reputation with him. But My Joy making him one of the best in the girl love genre? Okay, I mean, I can actually understand it, but I'll say that towards the end once I get through what is My Joy about. The whole point of My Joy is that it's a love triangle. So the story starts off with just Joy and Namsu, to which, by the way, these are just like the name of the important characters I want to talk about, because Korean names, I can't do with Korean names, because I can't remember them and I can't pronounce them. But I digress. Let's continue. It starts off with Joy and Namsu. Joy is our main character. She is in the title. Namsu is the track field runner. She is the popular girl in the track and field. A lot of people really like her, and she is the rising star. So we have those two. They're getting along, and on the offside, we find out that Joy's childhood friend Hye-Yeon is coming back to Korea after staying in America. It's in a foreign country. But anyways, yeah, so Hye-Yeon ends up coming back to Korea because she has a mission, and that mission is to bone the shit out of Joy. But unfortunately, Namsu also has a crush on Joy, and she's not gonna take that shit lightly, boy. But in the beginning of this webtoon, we have a clear distinction between Namsu and Hye-Yeon, because here is Hye-Yeon, who has experience. I guess you can say experience in love, but technically she just has experience in sex. And then here is Namsu, who's never really dated a girl. She's never or even dated anybody. And she's just here trying to figure out her crush on Joy. Things happen during this mess of a fucking love triangle, and we are also introduced to a side character, an underclassman, Hye-Yeon. I don't know, Hye-Yeon? There's a G in front of it, but I'm assuming that it's a silent G, and she's this girl who's basically trying to move the plot along. That's honestly who she is. She comes up to Namsu and like, yo, what are you doing? And then she'll come up to Joy and like, what are you doing? And she just starts spouting off all this shit that you're more or less going to agree with, because she is the character that you wish you were in. Like, she is the character if you were to just like fucking dive yourself into the webtoon. She's that character just coming in and like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like, just fucking pick someone already, you son of a bitch. But anyways, I digress. And as the story continues, we start to see that something is off with Joy, or at least something is not right in the least with Joy. She is this girl who is happy. That's why her name is Joy. She, I guess, brings people joy. And every time I think of Joy, I think of the drug, and it just makes me laugh. But anyways, yeah, Joy is just this lovable girl that these two other girls are in love with. And eventually we kind of find out a little bit of a backstory with how both girls met Joy. Actually, I don't know where I'm trying to go. I was actually trying to wind it back to Hye-Yeon. Hye-Yeon? Yeah, Hye-Yeon is just basically telling Joy that she needs to come up with a decision before it's too late. Everything is kind of fine and dandy for a couple more chapters, but then we figure out that, again, Joy is not exactly the best character. She is just, I don't know, I guess she likes both of them, but she doesn't want to hurt any of their feelings. She doesn't want to lose the both of them. Towards the end, she kind of does lose the both of them because of her fucking actions. But hey, we'll get to that in a bit. So we find out that, I guess, Joy decided to date Namsu, but when she goes and talks to Hye-Yeon, even though she decided to date Namsu, she didn't want to lose Hye-Yeon as well, or I don't know, she doesn't want to lose that intimacy with Hye-Yeon, so she would rather still continue the relationship instead of breaking it off. I didn't mention this in the beginning, but with the whole love triangle tension thing, because Namsu has seen Hye-Yeon putting her moves onto Joy, and Namsu is very hot-headed. That's something that you figure out very early on. She has all these thoughts and she just gets riled up with herself. But that part is okay, because during that time, Joy isn't dating anybody. She's just there. And Hye-Yeon, you know, being her coming back to Korea just so she could bone Joy, is putting her moves on Joy. That's all fair and game because Joy isn't dating anybody. So, like, if she wants to fucking dance around those two, she can, honestly. Like, it'll be really annoying, and eventually the both of them are just gonna realize that she's an idiot and leave her, but that was okay. She could just dance around them because she's not dating either of them. But the problem comes in around the middle of the webtoon when Joy decided to date Namsu, but she still decided to keep the relationship the same with Hye-Yeon. Now, that is when we call cheating. Because at this rate, Joy and Hye-Yeon are having a side relationship while she's having her main relationship, her dating with Namsu. Okay, so the whole thing with love triangles, alright? Like, I don't like love triangles. They're usually a terrible writing mechanic. I don't like love triangles. It always causes unnecessary drama, especially when the love triangle is directed at one person. That's just unnecessary drama, especially with the character who is in the focus, not being able to decide what to do. I guess you can say one love triangle, or at least one polyamorous relationship that I very much enjoy is from Cano's manga, the Kiss and White Lily for My Dearest Girl. I'm trying to remember the actual names of it. So, the manga, the current published mangas here in the Western world has not reached those chapters with the girls in the polyamorous relationship, but that was a good example of one, and that was something that I very much enjoyed. But you know what? In my joy, a polyamorous relationship That is out of the question, my friend. We can't do that shit. Because when when Joy told Hye-Yeon that she didn't want to end the relationship, Hye-Yeon told her that she should keep it a secret. She shouldn't tell anybody else about it. Which was the first mistake, by the way. First mistake is that Joy decided to talk to the both of them privately and separately. Instead, she should have brought them together and talked to them about it. Like, hey, you know, I know that the both of you guys like me, but I also like the both of you two. The whole point of a relationship is to compensate, Joy, alright? I know that you've never dated in your life, but come on. You fucking idiot. I was starting off on the whole building up to the climax, but as I was talking about this situation, I just realized how fucking shitty it was. So anyways, Joy and Namsu were at Namsu's house. Joy was about to initiate this whole thing with like, hey, you know, let's have sex. But I think that's because Joy is so accustomed to Hye-Yeon at this point, so she's kind of like, hey, let's have sex. But Namsu, being the pure girl that she is, didn't really want to do it. She just kind of wanted to hold her hands and just, you know, sleep in the same bed, which, hey, whatever, you know? She wants to do that, let's go. Joy ends up getting called by Hye-Yeon, and she ends up going over to her house. I think sometimes the story just, like, flies off all over the place. Or at least the timeline. But I think that was during the same time, and Joy ends up sleeping with Hye-Yeon instead, and that was when they decided to take a selfie of themselves, because why the fuck not? And Hye-Yeon told her to send her the picture, but because Joy is Joy, she accidentally sends the picture to Namsu instead in her sleepy state, because, you know, it was always a good thing to just fucking have both of their chat up at the same time. So, you know, that's her own goddamn fault. Things were actually okay for a while until that shit happened. So Namsu saw that picture, and of course she's riled up because A, she's dating Joy, so that is fucking cheating. But the other thing is that in the whole love triangle thing, it's always the other girl's fault, and it's not the girl in focus. It's not that girl's fault. So it's not Joy's fault. It's Hye-Yeon's fault for seducing her, which I never understand that kind of human, no, I don't want to say human connection, but like that human emotion that people have, because I've been on that point before where all I do is just hang out with a guy who just so happens to have a girlfriend, and then the girlfriend ends up getting mad at me. It makes no sense, because I'm over here thinking, yo, I'm literally doing nothing other than, hey, let's hang out, play some fucking video games, because obviously you as a girlfriend aren't playing video games with him. But I digress. Repeating once more, Namsu is a hot-headed girl. She goes to school to confront Joy and Hye-Yeon about it, or at least she's trying to find them. And her shoelaces are also untied, a detailed focus to those untied shoelaces. So, you know, she decides to try and tie her shoelaces in the bathroom, and that's when she sees Joy, because during that time, Joy and Namsu have matching shoes, that's what it is. So she finds that Joy is in the same stall as with Hye-Yeon, so she ends up waiting for them outside of the bathroom where she confronts them, but Hye-Yeon being Hye-Yeon, she's trying to protect Joy and just overall being this cool-headed girl, which is not a good thing with Namsu, because again, like, you can't just be cool-headed with her and just trying to deflect her fucking trying to deflect her question, or at least just saying like, oh, she's mine now, bitch, you know, like hold on, like, get her to calm down before you do that shit. So anyways, they leave. Namsu was going to walk down the stairs, but she ultimately tripped on her shoelaces, and she injured her leg to the point where she could not attend the racing, the track meet or something, I don't know, the tournament something. That's when we get to the ending. The ending that people just don't particularly enjoy, and that was with Joy meeting up with Namsu in the hospital. well, at least Namsu spills out her feelings, saying that she hates Joy, to which, understandable, justifiable. At the same time, she still shares some of that feeling with Joy, because before Hye-Yeon came, Joy was a really nice girl. She was a lovable girl. And after Joy left the hospital room, Namsu's mom comes in, and she ends up deciding that she's going to transfer school. Reasonable enough. And then we get to the last chapter, which is in Hye-Yeon's perspective. I forgot to talk about Hye-Yeon's backstory, which honestly was a nice backstory. It did make me feel for Hye-Yeon and not make me hate her as much. But anyways, we're in Hye-Yeon's perspective, and she's over here thinking, wow, Joy is really good at masking her emotions, or at least she's really good at not giving a shit. Like, here's Namsu, who can't attend the track meet anymore, who might not be able to run anymore if the doctor says so, and here's Joy acting like nothing happened. Then what is Hye-Yeon's relationship to Joy then? If Hye-Yeon gets injured, or if she disagrees with Joy or something, like, does that mean that Joy can easily toss her out like fucking trash? It's a very good question from Hye-Yeon, but we also get Hye-Yeon, the underclassman, who comes up to Joy and's like, what the fuck? I thought you said everything's gonna be alright, you son of a bitch. And Hye-Yeon comes to protect Joy because, of course. Hye-Yeon sees her and just say, I pity you too, because at this point she's figured out who Joy is. So she pities Hye-Yeon for even trying to stand up for her, still being in a relationship with her and such. Where's the fucking vacuum on? Things are a bit fine and dandy, I suppose, until Joy comes back to her photography club and she finds her project that she's been working on, which was all on Namsu, and it was titled My Joy, because that was something she was talking about during the aquarium, where on why she liked taking photographs so much, because it just captures her joy. On speculation, I suppose that's when Joy realized that her joy is gone because Namsu is transferring school, so she's not gonna be around here anymore, and her actions ultimately was the reason why. So when Hye-Yeon comes to see her, she, Joy asks her, like, are you going to leave me too? And Hye-Yeon just says, no, I'm not. But I feel like the way that that chapter started, the final chapter started, I feel like Hye-Yeon might also end up leaving Joy as well. I don't know why, but my joy isn't exactly as frustrating or as weird as I thought it would be. It was just a love triangle gone wrong. It was a love triangle where the person in focus was trying to maintain both relationship, but they sucked at it. They were just terrible. Or at least Joy herself was just a terrible person. In a way, I can kind of understand the whole phrase of the comic that made Pito one of the best in the girl love genre, because this webtoon is unorthodox. It goes into routes that you wouldn't expect it to, and it makes you just think about this webtoon in general. It's still a terrible webtoon. I don't like it. Again, I can still kind of see why Koreans might like it, mainly because, I don't know, Koreans just love drama, and this is just a fucking fondue of drama. Before I forget the whole backstory with Hye-Yeon, I actually can't remember it in details right now. I just remember simple, like, one-off pictures, but it's not enough for me to actually describe to you her backstory. But again, I'll tell you that that was a good backstory, and it gave us a reasonable likeness for Hye-Yeon and her actions in general, because if honestly, this whole story would have not happened if one of them weren't there, because Joy just can't handle two people at once, apparently. Just one person maybe, you know, that's there. Anyways, that's about it for me. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And the whole Amazon affiliate link thing too, you know, if you want to click on it, just saying. Other than that, thank you guys for sticking around, and I will see you guys in the next video.